This is communication strategies and, of course, business tips that can be used for any parent at any stage in the game from 0 to 21. And sometimes I think it can still be used now for us in our older age. So, hi, y'all. It's Dr. Ali. I am your communication strategist, business coach, retreat expert extraordinaire for those who love to escape from the world and take time out to reset and retreat. I also host and help others learn how to host reset retreats. So I wanted to really pop in really just to share some strategies that I've been sharing with my community. Make sure you're following me across board at Dr. Ali Griffith. Make sure you subscribe here, and tune in. I pop in at least once every 2 or 3 days, sometimes every day, with a message to help you in your life, personal development, in your business development, and definitely sometimes in your parenting. Some of these messages that I share with you, I love, even though they may be catered or the topic might be based on one specific space, you can actually use it in other spaces. I use a lot of my communication styles and techniques, not only in parenting, not only in my personal life, also in my business life. It's how I began to learn that communication is key no matter where you go. So I wanted to share this out because these are some situations that some folks I know that are dealing with. And I always figure if we're dealing with it, that means you might be dealing with it. So if I can share helpful strategies that can help you along the way, whether it's in your personal life, whether it's in your parenting, whether it's in your business, whether it's in how you relate with other relationships, then use it. It doesn't hurt. It can only help, right? So today is all about my son, right? For those who don't know, I am an autism mom for a son who is 18, turning 19 soon. And we are in the process of getting him ready for his next level, which is getting ready for his higher education, higher life skills space, where we're looking into spaces that he's not going to be living home, but he's actually going to be living in a dormitory, or he's going to be living in a separate residence facility that has access to independent living skills, career development skills, and also college skills, so that he don't feel pressured. So that's the first tip. I think we put a lot of pressure on our children to do the things that we feel they should do. It's usually based on our own lives. It's usually based on things that we have accomplished in our lives, or things we like to accomplish later on. Hey, I see you popping in. Say hi. And as we begin to put a lot of pressure on our children, or put pressure on people around us, we begin to realize that, or even pressure on ourselves, right, as parents, we tend to lose connection and connectivity in that space because of this level of pressure. And I wanted to share with you how you can relieve some of the pressure. Number one, allow people to be themselves, right? Allow individuals, allow yourself to be yourself, allow your child to be themselves. Try to listen more to what it is that they want out of their life before we come putting ourselves and pressuring ourselves into what do we believe that they should be doing with their lives. So we want to make sure, thank you, we want to make sure that we're asking questions. We want to make sure that they're open-ended questions. They're not really scaffolded into yes or no, or something leading them directly to where we want them to go, but we're allowing them the opportunity to express themselves fully, right? And this is also in the business space. When you have a team and you're having your team meetings, you want to make sure you're communicating and having time where people can express themselves completely, allowing them that space, allowing them that safety, that safe space that they can allow themselves just to share. So as Zachary began to figure out what it is that he wants to do for that next stage, I remember when I was in my high school stage, and I was so gung ho to be pre-med. I was so gung ho to do, to do what my parents wanted me to do, that I didn't allow myself to think of other things or explore other spaces until I got into college itself. So what I wanted to do differently for him is I wanted to give him the process and the space, the safe space. Somebody type out safe space, so that he can have the opportunity to truly explore the things that he wants to explore, whether it's going to be in a trade profession, whether it's going to be in in college credits and classes, whether it's just in its own independent living skills. But the key for me was allowing him that opportunity to tell me what he's thinking and being okay with I don't know. So if you have a child at any age, even the little ones, start allowing time. And I'm not saying to allow them to take over things and just, completely be unstructured, but allow them that opportunity in safe space times where they can share more about what it is that they want for themselves and what it is that they visualize for themselves. Just like how you would do when we're doing our vision board exercises, when we're setting intentions in our business calls, when we're setting specific intentions in what we want next. So today in my community, I ask them what's now, what's next. And that's number two. Number two is specificity. We want to be specific in our intentions. And we want to help them to learn how to be specific in their intentions. So you want to go from that vague space to, oh my goodness, I just want to be happy and I just want to succeed and I just want to do well, to him actually giving us a more visual picture of what does that success look like? What does that happiness look like? What does it feel like to them? And you can run through all the senses. This is a really great way how to get specific, is run through all the senses within them. What does it look like? What does it sound like? What does it feel like? What does it smell like? What does it taste like? All of that aspect allows them to explore into the general, but then narrowing it down into specific. So the more we can support them and going from vague to specific, and we have to model a lot of these things. So even as CEOs, as people who host meetings, or we're training as coaches, we want to make sure that we're going from these long-term really big vague answers and big intentions to really getting specific into, okay, now short term, what is it that we want to accomplish, or what is our next immediate step, right? So getting clearer on that vagueness and helping to get a little bit more specific, and then to get even more granular into, okay, now if this is the specific and this is what I want to do next. If Zachary knows that he doesn't want to stay home next, he wants to go out into the space, he wants to try independence, he wants to see what it is. I'm like, all right, so if you want that, what are some of the things that we need to do now, and what are the things we need to do next? So getting super clear on the what's now, what's happening now, what do we need to do now, what can we be successful at now, what can we celebrate now, and then helping ourselves to expand and pull into, or helping them to pull into, well, what's next? If I want to get to that big space, then what's our next thing? What's our next immediate move? We need to fill out those applications. We need to know what schools we want to go to. We want to make the first step in gathering the information. We may need scholarships. Whatever it is that we need to do in terms of planning our next steps, we want to support them in that space without being too overbearing. I mean that. Us as parents, sometimes we can get super overbearing. Us as people, we can get overbearing with ourselves. So really take these simple strategies into helping you to go from really vague space, creating that safe space so that you yourself and people around you, whether it's your clients, whether it's your children, whether it's other relationships around you, create that safe space so open dialogue can happen, and you're not just leading with whatever it is that you want them to do, or what others are telling you that you should be doing. You're giving yourself the opportunity to really, really explore into what it is that you need. And then going from that space into getting a little bit more specific, create specific intentions, like really leaving it from the vague, okay, I want to succeed, I want to do well, I want to blank, and help them into getting more specific, set specific intentions. That is where our results will happen. That's where you'll feel more drive. That's where you'll feel more successful as a parent, by helping them learn how to be specific in their moves, in their next move. And then, of course, like I said, the last one is really tapping into what's now and what's next. What's now, what's next. Taking the time out to celebrate them in the now. Taking time out to celebrate yourself in the now, man. Sometimes we got to celebrate ourselves in this process, because life is always lifing and things are always going around us. And as parents, we stop and we forget to celebrate that, hey, you know what? I'm not doing so bad. There's a lot of things I can get better in, but there's a whole lot of things I want to celebrate myself in. So I can look at my what's now, and now what's next. What do I want to do better as a parent? What are some things that I can help my child out with? How can I develop our relationship, develop our communication skills, develop us in whatever way that you can. So looking into the what's next. Now, the last part I'm going to leave you with, which is my bonus tip, is you got to be able to model this. You got to be out there. If you can't just be speaking about it, you got to do it. If you want your team, if you're a business person, CEO, and you want your team to be following a certain thing, a certain modality, a certain strategy, you want to see them doing what you're talking about, you got to be doing it in your actions. And the same thing for parenting. Can't be out there telling our kids to be specific and creating safe spaces and all this kind of things that I'm just mentioned to you, what's now, what's next, and we are not emulating it. We're not truly living it, not just by talking it, but doing it through our actions. Now, let me know if any of those are something that you want to work on. Let me know if any of those are still situations that you still have concerns about. Reach out to me if there are major questions or if there's any concern, and let's see how we can get you supported. Okay, leave a message below. It's Dr. Ali, and I'll catch you in our next one. Also, let me know, what are your thoughts? How do you feel about your own parenting tips and skills and things that you need to improve in? What do you need to know more of? All right, bye.